And that's been going on for a long time. There's nobody can stop that, I don't think. No way.
The rules. So a lot of cancer.
Yeah, and oh, yeah. In fact, this guy, a friend of mine, John A. there, I used to work with him on these same buildings out here at the university. He passed away not too long ago, cancer. You know.
Miss Pinnell said that her brother worked at the factory and he did pass. And when he came home from the factory, he'd pull his coins out of his pocket and they would be black. Did you hear stories like that?
Yes, a friend of mine, Cleon, he's still living over on, right there next to Highway 11. He live in those new homes they built. Of course, it's been a lot of construction going on here in Commerce. They have one of those homes that he live in over there. But he's no good. He's more or less a vegetable. He can't do anything. Cancer. Yeah.
What color was the soot that came out of the pipe that landed on your car?
When it landed on the car, it was a kind of a gray in color. Yeah, it was a kind of a grayish color. And that's on, the houses, anything that was out, that sat there, well, that film or dust was on it.
And the lawsuit for the railroad as well, that was because of the ash or because you guys were loading, or the stuff from the factory was being loaded onto the cars?
Well, actually the stuff, it was loaded into tanks, and some of it was loaded onto into boxes, because see, they shipped that stuff. That was poison. That's what they made poison. That was a poison plant. They actually made poison from there.
Okay.
And that's the location in which they made the poison from. Well, now those substances that was going up through that pipe there, that was the leavings of the material that they had mixed together, and that was just the steam that came off of it, you know. And they were supposed to be burning it, but some of it escaped.
Some people describe the water as rather colorful, the runoff.
Yes, that's true. That's true, the water. That's why I never did drink the water, because, and they claimed that they had cleaned the pipes. But now, see, I learned in the fire department, you know, when you hook hose together, that's caused friction loss when water runs over those little rough places. That's what you call friction loss. That's how you accumulate it. And that's how you determine your nozzle tips that you're using, and to how much pressure to apply from that centrifugal type pump that you have on. See, because I had to go through structure before I got into crash. And that's why I learned all this from structural firefighting. Because crash, you know, you just deal with mostly electrical fires, chemical fires, and all this kind of stuff. And of course, we used, of course, in winterizing agents that they have for a lot of you to keep things from freezing and so on like that. That's who I was living with in Roxton. Well, yes, because see, my mother died when I was about 5 years old, and then I went to school there in Roxton, and we left Roxton, I guess, about a year later.
Okay.
Somewhere along in there. But anyway, I was in the diploma, first grade, or what have you. But anyway, prior to coming to Roxton, Ladonia, Texas, over there, well, Allie Preston was my first teacher. She was the elementary teacher there. And her name was Allie Preston. And now she taught me from the first grade up to the third, and I think I left, or the second grade, somewhere along there. But anyway, I left from her classroom and then I went into, so that was, well, we had a teacher then, Mrs. Wheeler. Yeah, Mrs. Wheeler's class, and she taught the up to the I think she taught up to the 4th grade, and then I went later to because Miss Wheeler she got killed in a car wreck, and Euro. That was a heavy set. She was kind of heavy set, but she was a young teacher. She taught, and a lady by the name of Mrs. Kennedy, which was J.W. Askew's. He married her later. The principal married her a little in later years. But she was my science teacher. Yeah, and but I believe I'm from that. Yeah, we did. Because I kept coming in contact with my elementary Allie Preston, because she was she taught more than one, because we had to go from different rooms for a while there, and I didn't have just a regular teacher. I just had science teacher and so on. But that's as near as I can remember. But the reason I remember Miss Allie Preston, because now she was one that lady was highly. She was smart. She was in all the classrooms sometime or the other. Yes, she was. She was in all the classrooms sometime or the other, and she knew all of us. And she was one when I got ready to go overseas. I was in Wichita. Yeah, I was in Wichita Falls, and just as they was getting us ready to go overseas, we had to process out, go by different buildings and pick up different materials that belong to you, and you have to process in and out of every base you go to in the Air Force, and she, of course, I don't know just who, but someone in communication or somehow, they sent her some paperwork to, of course, I wouldn't know, but they sent it to her, want to know about the type student I was, and all this kind of stuff. They have ways of going back to your school and getting that, because I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about it. But she told me when I came back on leave, she said, yeah, I knew you were going into the Air Force. I said, well, how'd you know that? She said, wait now. I said, you know now. She called me, she said, boy, I taught you when you were in the 1st grade. I said, yes, ma'am. She talked to all of us that way. I don't care how old you got. But, so I said, yeah. And she says, and I sent the report in on you, said, because your principal, he didn't know, so he didn't know nothing. He said, but said, I know all of my students, says, all of y'all are still because you were my students first. And we were. And but anyway, she told me, and she says, they would want to know, had you ever been a communist?
1st grade communist.
I said, now how in the world